I feel like every truly great vlog starts with a bouncy video walking through Walmart. So we started a new website, and we can't quite reveal a domain name yet, but we are going to reveal it in August. We started a brand new blog, and it is up to $150 a month right now, even though we just started it 23 weeks ago. And we're really excited. I think this one, seeing those numbers early on, I think we're very likely to get to several thousand a month later. But we made a ton of pretty major mistakes in creating the website, and so today we're going to tell you about all the mistakes we made and celebrate with one epic last mistake. We need a couple rubber bands. Perfect. So, what do you buy from Walmart to celebrate the mistakes you made on a new work project? Today we'll be doing the Watermelon Challenge in my office while talking about the mistakes we made on this site. Alright, so I'm going to take the first mistake, and that is choosing a topic for your blog that you're just not actually interested in. It's okay if you're not passionate about the topic, but you have to at least have a passing interest in it, enough to hold your attention as you're working on something for many months. This is something that I most commonly see when somebody found like this affiliate program, like they find this heartworm medication affiliate program, and it's like $100 commission, and people get zeros in their eyes, right? They get all excited about getting the financial aspects of that niche, but then it's just such a slog to try to write the content over months and publicize the content and get your name out there because you just don't care about heartworm medication for dogs, right? And so if instead you pick a topic that's broad enough that you'll be able to write about diverse, different aspects of it, and then will at least hold your attention, I think you'll do much better. We made this mistake on a website we recently did at our Creator Studio. It was in the pets industry about a specific type of animal, and the writers just did not care about it. And so every day, day after day, writing about the same thing, it was really tough for them to pay attention. I made the same mistake on soundproofexpert.com that I did a few years ago. The site got to earning $400 a month, and that was it. Never got higher than that. Why? Because I only ever wrote 7 articles on the website. And in one way, it's amazing that 7 articles could earn $400 a month. But it could have done much more if I would have spent my time on a site that could hold my attention. But it was just really tough to write about how to soundproof your car, how to soundproof your bedroom, how to soundproof an office. And so I didn't continue with it. So it's fine if you choose something that you're not passionate or an expert about. But pick something that you're at least interested in writing about. So that was mistake number 1. Let's check in on our watermelon. How's it coming, Freddie?
We're doing great. We're cruising over here. This thing's gonna be exploding in no time. So our second mistake was obsessing too much over quantity and not focusing enough on quality.
Yeah, that's when we were first starting, we were running the numbers of how much is it going to cost to outsource each post, and how many posts do we want to have on the website, and kind of thinking, how much money can this site make if it had that many posts and that kind of thing. And it led us to overemphasize the quantity of articles, which is the same thing anybody, even if you're making your website yourself, it can just be really easy to think about, okay, I've got to get to 50, 100 articles, whatever. And then you look back over them and they're all just kind of mediocre. What were some of the mistakes we saw from the writers?
Yeah, there were a lot of things with formatting, with not knowing enough about the topic.
Yeah, just really lazy research.
Yeah, showing a huge lack of knowledge, using terminology that would immediately say to the audience, I don't know much about this topic. Mm-hmm. And so I think those were some of the main things.
So when you're working on this, I want you to think in terms of well, here's an example. So on camperreport.com, I recently looked at our links to the website. And by far, nothing else is even close. The most linked to page from other websites, which helps our overall SEO, is an article that I wrote on RV depreciation. Just go Google it in another tab while you're listening. Just Google RV depreciation and you'll see the article from Camper Report. And that post just kills it on Google. It does really well. And it's not even that long of a post. It's like in terms of word count, I can't remember what it was, but it's not that big. The reason that it did so well is because it just had deep research into the topic. Like I actually made an Excel document and I tracked the depreciation of multiple different models and stuff, and I could give the ultimate answer there. So like, if I had spent that amount of time, I could have written 5 little kind of throwaway junky posts, but by spending that much effort into one post, it just makes the whole website take off because now you're attracting links with no real outreach effort.
Right. We talk about pillar posts in terms of word count, but when you think about the word pillar, the phrase pillar post, it's a post that holds up your website, and that post is a perfect example. So it's that type of a post that can really hold up a website and launch it to the next level.
So our mistake number 2 was just focusing too much on quantity and not just quality. But there's a trade-off to this. We usually see the opposite is true. When we see people in Project 24 and just on our YouTube channel in general, all the time I see somebody who says, oh, I've been working on my website for a year and I'm not seeing success. And I think, wow, a year? Wow, that is surprising. And then I go look at it and it's like, wait, you only wrote 15 posts, that you just haven't put much into it. And the posts that I read are great. They've done great quality, but they just haven't done enough of it. And what we found is, with rare exceptions like Soundproof Expert, if you just don't have, a minimum acceptable amount of content on a website, which we usually consider around 30 posts as just a good seed in the ground, it can make it so that that website just never quite takes off. So it's not quality over quantity. It's quality and quantity. You kind of have to have both.
Right. It's a balance between the two.
All right. Mistake number 3 is not having a rock solid backup of your website as you're going. When you're making your first website, you're going to make mistakes in WordPress. You're going to make mistakes with your hosting and all kinds of things. Over time, you're going to get processes in place that this just won't become an issue at all. But I lost my very first version of improvedphotography.com. I worked on it a couple months and then I lost the whole website. Looking back, I don't even know what I did, but I had messed something up and I lost all my content. And that's when I learned you have to have a rock solid backup. So almost every host is going to have a backup procedure. If you use Bluehost, WPX, any of our recommended hosts, they're going to do their backup. But you need to have your own. I feel pretty strongly about that. So what we use for that is managewp.com. It's really a suite of tools. They have a lot of pretty cool features on it. But it's $1 a month. They'll do a complete backup of your website, totally automated. And so if anything ever goes wrong, you always have your backup right there. If your host ever gets attacked and something happened to the website, you just upload your site to a different host and point your domain over and you're ready to go. So have a rock solid backup, especially if you're learning WordPress. All right, the 4th mistake is giving up too soon, and you've recently got an email about this.
Right, so I've been handling a lot of the things in Project 24, our course.
I'm starting to get a little nervous now. That's a lot of rubber bands on this watermelon. Okay, sorry,
don't give up too soon, Jim.
That's right.
So I got a personal message from this guy who has a few websites. He's been working on them really hard, but he's only had them for around 2 months. And so he sends me this message like, I'm just distraught. I'm getting really depressed about how my content's not ranking yet on Google. I have no, titles at #1 yet. So he was just getting really depressed over this. And I looked at all of his content and asked, well, how long has your stuff been on Google? And he said, about 2 months for some of it, about 6 weeks for others. And he was just under the impression that everything should fall into place by now, that stuff should be ranking, that stuff should be monetized, when really the case was he just needed to give it a little bit more time.
Yeah, we usually find it takes about 35 weeks for an article to get about 90% of where it's going to get on Google. But this is, we've built a network of sites, a bunch of different websites, and still I feel this. Still, I feel it. On this website we were just talking about, one that we just built, like sometimes I find myself looking at the numbers and be like, oh man, we're 18 weeks in and we're way behind. And then I look at, we have a timeline for our Project 24 members of just like what to kind of expect each week in terms of monetization and page views, if you're kind of on track for what our overall goal is going to be. And it's by no means a guarantee, but like sometimes I look back, I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like this is normal. This is what happens. And this is what keeps so many people from creating more competition and passive income online. It takes a long time to rank on Google. And so you think, man, I am the worst blogger in the world. I'm never going to get anything. And actually, you may be doing fine. It just takes a long time for it to hit Google.
Right.
It's actually not a bad thing. I feel like if Google changed things so that you could write an article today and it were going to be ranking tomorrow, our business would be gone. It would be. There would just be a flood of competition. If I could write an article today and if it was good enough, it would shoot to #1 tomorrow.
Yeah.
There would be so much competition that I don't think there would be much of a market for this. I think it's actually wonderful for us as bloggers. If you're willing to push through that severe dip, it's actually a great thing that kind of protects our industry.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, blogging needs a barrier to entry, essentially. In business, blogging kind of has some of the lower overhead costs. I mean, there's really not that much preventing anyone from getting into this industry, which is what makes it great, but there also needs to be something that kind of puts some above others.
Yep, absolutely. So don't give up too early. All the time I see people who are selling a website that's 5-6 months old, and I always think, oh, could you please wait till 12 months old before we really know how this performed? So give yourself a little grace, focus on the quality that you're producing and the quantity you're producing, not on the end result yet. So those are our 4 mistakes that we made. In building websites over years, we've made plenty of others. But we want to share with you our total process for how we create sites. How do we pick the niche? How do we do the search analysis? How do we decide how long the post should be? How many posts we should write? And for that, we have a webinar for you. It's called our Project 24 webinar, where we lay out a whole lot of the strategy. So click the card somewhere. I don't know why they do the corners thing. It's somewhere though. Click the card there. And until then, we're just going to be smashing this watermelon. I feel like I need to go get some safety glasses.
That's probably
You have
a good
glasses
idea.
on. I think I better go do that.
Yeah.
It could be in a second.
Yeah.
Oh, it's spreading. Whoa!
That was crazy.
All right, come get some watermelon.
Wow. That's actually a good
Don't get it on the floor.
That's a good watermelon, actually.
Oh, that's actually really good.
It's on your carpet. Don't
Wow.
Dad, look.
Oh, whoa! Show that to
my
the
God.
camera.
Oh.
Let me see that. Whoa!